戦うため磨いてきた血がある。
なんとなく予想してたけど、オロチがチームか。
しかも落葉で戦ったオロチとは一味違う圧倒的な力と存在感だ。我らは幾多の困難を乗り越えここにいる。この戦いも乗り越えられると信じるのだ。
次回こそ我が望みやらなきゃダメなんだ。
Hey, what's up, man? Hello. Got about 90 minutes to stream. How you doing? It's been a very busy and productive day. Paid off the computer bill and all my other bills and checked out the game center. I watched the Mario movie because they had it at the game center. It was actually pretty bland. I can't believe that movie made $1 billion. That's just insane. It definitely felt like they really played it, that movie really safe. It kind of just something to watch, but not really much to it. Could really tell that they were trying to not repeat the mistakes of the movie from the 90s. Like, let's just put in a bunch of nostalgia and nice graphics. Yeah, I'm trying to build up my team right now, so Rambo here is pushing everyone's shit in right now. How you doing? I've actually been doing this for like most of today while I was at the game center, but I figured since I'm over here, I might as well stream it. I might do some more tonight. I'm actually pretty tired. I've had a very busy, productive day. Bills and errands, adult shit. Just casually wall hacking here. They're gonna ban me from the Counter-Strike Go community. Yeah, I was thinking of checking that game out. I need to look into that game. Might be something I could play over here. Hey, good, I got his Typhoon. Nice. Alright, so he's done. Does Grim Dawn have, like, you know, the kind of shit that I like fast-paced? I know they don't have martial artists, but do they have, like, a fast melee class? That would push me towards getting it. Generally, if I can't play, like, a monk or a martial artist, I'll always play, like a ninja or, like, a thief or something. Whatever they've got closest to that. Diablo 4 was the Rogue. That's what I played. Alright, we're running the martial arts, homies. We're running the martial arts, homies. Best costume right there. Alright, cool. This is so laggy. Fine before. I can't stand lag. Anything under 60 feels awful. Stop lagging. Can't do 30 FPS. Cannot do 30 FPS. It feels like shit. Need 60 locked. None of this 40 FPS. Can't believe people play games at 40 FPS. You want it to feel like water. Want it to feel like mud to play. Shit, even 60 feels slow now. It's all about that 120. 144. Might just be the map.
敵将討ち取ったり報告します。北に送った兵からの連絡が途絶えました。
脅威さんも龍禅さんもやられちゃったのか。増援の人たちに懲らしめてもらわなきゃね。
やはり半兵衛が申した通りか。ラッキーな真理に背いたのは放置できぬ。
165. Sorry if it's lagging. It's a little bit more intensive than what I normally play on these streams. I normally play like indie games and retro. Yeah, once you start doing 120 and 144 and 165, it's really hard to go back to 60. 60 doesn't even feel good anymore. But it depends on the game. Some games are perfectly fine at 60. Others look really choppy. Like Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. That game is really choppy. Yeah, I'm probably gonna hop off this game after this map. Play something more deck appropriate. This is pushing the thing to its limits. Yeah, 500 FPS monitors are crazy expensive. And there's like so few games that you could run. There's like already 265 Hz monitors. My the old game center, not the one that I went to today, but the one that was here before, they had like 265 Hz monitors. I'm like, how many games can you run at 265 Hz FPS? It's like such a small subset of games. It's like League of Legends, a lot of indie games. Nothing that a person that would brag about having that kind of equipment would ever play. That's kind of my issue with it. I'm like, people who brag about a 265 Hz monitor, you know they're gonna have shit taste in games, right? League of Legends, Call of Duty, Overwatch. like the most basic bitch games. But like, you can't run those games at 265 FPS. It's like actually legit hard to do it. Very hard to achieve that. Probably like 1080p, 1080p high, with like the processor I have, an i9, and like a 4090 or something. Very few games you could play. Yeah, they had 265 Hz monitors, which was nuts. I'm like, this is overkill. It's like, no one there is really even playing anything demanding. That was what was weird about it. It's mostly just like esports games. The thing about esports games is they're not optimized like shit. They're actually optimized really well. That's the whole point. They're free to play. It's supposed to be a low barrier of entry. I'm like, why the hell did they spend so much money on 265 Hz monitors? They could have saved a lot of money. 144, 120 even would have been enough, I think, for most people. Like, talk about overkill. I was playing stuff over there at like 160 FPS, or like 260, but like just like pixel art indie games, not like anything heavy. PS5 does support 120 hertz. It's just very few games. DMC5 does. DMC5 Special Edition on PS5 does support, it does support 120. It probably doesn't hit it all that often, but it's cool that they let you uncap it. I mean, they don't have to do that. I feel like most console players don't even have that kind of equipment. I'm not ragging on console players. I was a console gamer for a long time, but I feel like if you're gonna get a monitor like that, having a PS5 is like kind of a waste. Because the thing about the PS5 is PS5's not weak console, it's not. But even a lot of the indie games don't support 120 FPS. So having a monitor like that is kind of a waste unless you have a gaming PC. Yeah, this is getting kind of laggy. Let's play something else. Let's play something else. I don't know why it's lagging right now. Maybe it needs to be rebooted or something. Let's play something less taxing. No, I didn't want to play that. Fuck. No, I said close it. God damn it. What do you mean at 1440p? 4K on the PS5 is just stupid. I don't understand why they it's like a big marketing point for them. Like these games can't even run at like 720p 60. What's the point of 4K? Fucking Jedi Survivor's like 720p in performance mode with forced ray tracing. Like how amateurish can you port your game? It completely defeats the purpose of a performance mode to have ray tracing on. Like, dude, how do these people get so much money to make these games from the publishers? They do amateurish stuff like that. Ray tracing should not be on in any performance mode. It should never be on. It should never even be an option. Ray tracing is not worth the performance hit. It's basically just like blast processing when I was a kid. A little bit better than that. Blast processing is basically just marketing. Didn't really mean anything. Ray tracing does do something, but I feel like with our current tech, it tanks performance to make the game look a little better. I don't think it's worth it. The waste of your computer's resources. Yeah, I would believe you. That game doesn't really have much going on. It's mostly just walking around. I don't get the appeal of those new God of War games, man. I'm sorry. I tried the one that's on PC. I got like 2 hours in and uninstalled it. Like, this is the most boring action game I've ever played. It's just watching a movie. It's like no gameplay. They made the combat worse. Tired of interactive movie video games. Sick of it. Stuff like this is better. Actually playing, not watching a movie. Well, all the Sony games except for Spider-Man are like that. They're all just interactive movies with, like, average at best gameplay. But all people want is graphics and to watch cutscenes instead of actually play a video game anymore, so... Get record-breaking profits and reviews. Man, something like this is more of a video game. Actual video game. Interacting with it. Not watching cutscenes. People don't even like the story of God of War Ragnarok, which is funny because it's such a huge focus. If you're gonna force me to watch the story, it better be good. Because if the story's bad and you dumb down the gameplay so much, like how much game is actually left? So they dumb down the gameplay a lot. But there's like a ton of story. I think DMC3 tells a better story with like a fraction of the cutscenes and better gameplay than a lot of these new games, which is sad because that game is 18 years old. But that game has like some of the best balance between narrative and gameplay. Really has not been surpassed. Just kind of pathetic. How much more tech we have now to make games, and they can't beat that game. Yeah, I think DMC3 DMD is like the hardest in the series. 5 DMD, the enemies just have too much health. I don't really like the pacing in 5's DMD mode. It's like it's not bad, but I feel like things have a little bit too much health. Their health feels a little overtuned. But there's ways around it. You can play Dante with Quad S. I don't know, it's pretty hard to break a PS2. Worst thing about the PS2 was the disc read errors. Those things could cripple your game playing ability. But I think for most people it didn't happen until PS3 was out. That's pretty much when it happened for me. Around like 06, 07 I started getting the disc read error. Could definitely kill the lens on a PS2 and Dreamcast pretty quickly. The Dreamcast was mostly the lens would die if you started playing a lot of burnt games. If you're playing actually legally bought games, I think it was pretty good. But the lens was like $80, and you could get a like new Dreamcast for cheaper because the Dreamcast was a failure for everybody who wasn't super into arcade games. I gave my friend my Dreamcast because he was a Marvel player, and back then, well, even pretty much now, there's not really a good modern Marvel 2 port, so they all played on Dreamcast. It's like they barely made any copies of that game, so even if you wanted to buy it, there weren't very many. It became expensive very fast. So, the Marvel community pretty much had to rely on burnt discs. But the ironic thing about that is the Dreamcast lens would shit the bed like way faster. You're playing burnt discs, so you wouldn't want to buy a Dreamcast from somebody who was big into fighting games. I actually had a legal copy of Marvel 2. Yeah, piracy on Dreamcast for fighting games was pretty much a requirement, no matter how you felt about it morally. They made like no copies of Marvel 2. They made very few. Very low print run. That game came out in 2000, so companies are already like, yeah, the Dreamcast is a failure. PS2 is right around the corner. Fuck.
No more goblins. No more goblins.
The PS3 was more durable than the 360. PS3 is mostly, if you had the original model, the 60 gig, the George Foreman grill. Yeah, those things are like time bombs. It doesn't matter how well you take care of it. That thing is not reliable. I would argue it's still better than the stock 360 though. Because the stock 360 had a legit... Their design was garbage for a professional company spending hundreds of millions, like, to engineer the console. It had just the way that the stuff was, the guts of the thing was, it was really easy to overheat. That's why they lost a lawsuit. This is, like, legit not your fault. There's no way that many millions of people had, like, I don't know, kids not taking care of it, or they don't have a well-ventilated room or anything. It's like, nope, it was like a legit shitty design. That's why they had to start repairing those, no questions asked. Way less effort than it takes to get, like, literally anything else electronic repaired. They got sued, pretty much. It's pretty funny. Like, what did you expect to happen? You made a crap product that breaks. Like, adults were having it crap out on them. Not just kids. Like, people in their 20s and 30s that know how to take care of hardware. Same thing with the Joy-Cons on the Switch. Like, those things are terribly designed. And they will just drift no matter what you do. No, PS3 managed to avoid a lawsuit, at least. That's one thing they had over Microsoft, because Microsoft and Nintendo both won that generation. Sony was a pretty distant third. Xbox had a lot of exclusives. The online was better. But the funny thing is they had the worst hardware. The Wii was fucking built of titanium. I never heard of that thing breaking. But yeah, Sony didn't get sued. They did that right, at least. I think they had to fast track a redesign of the 360 because of the lawsuit. The Jasper chipset was like didn't have red ring as a problem anymore. The Switch itself is very durable. It's just the Joy-Cons are the problem. The Joy-Cons just have a design flaw at their core that makes it a shitty controller. That breaks, it's basically destined to break, regardless of how little you play video games or how well you take care of your stuff. It's just the 360. That's what the 360 was. Adults that took like really good care of their hardware still couldn't get a 360 to be reliable. That's pretty much what the Joy-Cons are. The design of them sucks. They drift too easily. Whether you play 2 hours a day or 16, it doesn't matter. I had a pair of Joy-Cons give out on me like 2 months after I bought them. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm like, yeah, maybe I played like 3 or 4 hours a day, but it's not acceptable for that little game time a day, if even that. The thing breaking after 2 months? There's nothing acceptable about that. I take good care of my stuff too. I keep it in a case. It's not really open, exposed to dust or anything. I don't know, 8 years for a grafted on joystick to start drifting is acceptable. What's not acceptable is 2 fucking months. I think there's a very big difference. I used mine a lot too, and I never had that problem with the Vita. Really beautiful piece of hardware. But yeah, that's a far cry from fucking 2 months. 2 months of, like, the amount of time an adult, like, normal amount of time an adult plays a video game a day, which is, like, just a couple hours tops for most cases. The thing should not be breaking after 2 months. That's insane. I mean, I was born in the 80s, so... I was born in the 80s, so, you know, I was like a kid, and those controllers lasted like my entire childhood. So how is it, now that I'm an adult and I take better care of my stuff, that the controllers last less time? It really is a case of, they don't make shit like they used to. Because that makes no logical sense. I was a very messy kid, so... it's a testament to the quality of the controllers back then. And now I'm an adult that takes good care of his stuff. And these controllers can't withstand, like, even a remote amount of punishment. Casual couple hours a day. Thing is on its deathbed already.
Try and stop me!
No more javelins. No more javelins. No more javelins. No more javelins.
We have a lot better electronics than we had as kids, for sure. But in terms of controllers, outside of fight sticks, all that stuff was better when we were kids. All of it. Definitely feel like people are too clouded by nostalgia, like some of the stuff we used as kids. But no, the controllers actually were way better when we were children. I think that's undeniable. There's NES and SNES controllers that are legit 30 years old that still work. Like kid-owned too, not adult-owned. They're like from households that had like 10 kids that used it all day. They still fucking work. Things that... These controllers have been through hell, man. They still work.
Red by the time I'm done with
No more javelins. No more javelins. No more javelins. No more javelins.
Fucking ad. That's alright, I would have died on the next screen anyway. I would have died on the next screen anyway, doesn't matter. Keep going. It's just a practice run anyway. I haven't played this through in a while, a little rusty. I have 1cc this game with this character before. I don't have the power level to do it right now.
No more javelins. No more javelins. No more javelins.
You don't throw fast enough. Took too long to throw. God damn it. How did the grab not hit him? Bullshit. Standing right next to him. One more combo, get him.
No more javelins.
Good fight. Oh, the Ray Force games are coming to Steam. Was that announced today? I haven't really been on social media much today, which it's not like that's a bad thing. Especially Twitter. What's it called now? X. Did that get announced today? I knew about Radiant Silvergun. I knew about that. I didn't know about the Ray Force, Ray Storm games. That's pretty sick. I was a Nintendo kid, the 5th generation of game consoles, so I never really played those games outside of my friend's house. He lived down the street, he had a PS1. But yeah, I'll probably buy that. Just to be a little bit more educated on shmups. I'm not very good at shmups, though. Definitely do not have the skill level on shmups that I have on stuff like this. That's for sure. Be the first to tell you that.
No more javelins. No more javelins.
Hey, 1cc. Nice. 1cc. Fake 1cc because I reset a couple times, but for not playing the game for months, it's pretty damn good. GG's. Yeah, put my name in, sure. Yeah, Andy's one of my favorite characters in this game. Just a fast-paced ninja martial artist. Always the kind of character I go for. Yep, there you go. 1cc. I've done real 1cc's with no resetting before. I've done it before, but a little rusty right now. Let's see, I've 1cc'd with a couple characters.
んなのかい。
Don't know how good that super is. Unless it knocks them too far away. This one you can combo off of. I think you can. Really easy to buffer as well. Yeah, I like that. Alright, let's try a king credit. Try a credit with king. When I say credit, I mean I'll continue this throughout streams because it's like an hour long and I don't have enough time to beat the game right now. But we'll start a credit. How about that? We'll start a credit. But if I die early, I'm just gonna kill the run. I feel like doing another credit. This thing is the best beat-em-up console ever made. You could play like pretty much every beat-em-up ever made on this thing. You got all the ones on PC. You could do PS2 ones as well. You could do MAME. You could do Naomi games. Pretty much all arcade hardware. It got beat-em-ups, which is pretty much Naomi, Atomic Wave, Neo Geo, CPS2, PGM1, PGM2. And then you get all these fan games as well. You can play all of those too. Although there's not many good games on this engine. This engine is very front-loaded. Got a couple games worth playing, and the rest are like kind of average at best, or poorly designed. Because making a game like this is way harder than people give it credit for. Making a good beat 'em up is about as hard as making a good first-person shooter. People greatly underestimate how hard it is to make a good first-person shooter. Actually, this is the best Muso console ever made, too, because you can play almost every Muso game. I'd say the thing that makes the ROG Ally better, though, is that you can play Basara at 60 FPS. Steam Deck really struggles to run Basara. I tried. That was like one of the first things I tried when I bought this. Unfortunately, it doesn't run very well.
No more jugglings.
What are you guys' predictions for EVO? I think there's an abnormally high chance of a new Marvel. And that's mostly just because Marvel is on Finals Day. And I really don't know what else they could announce aside another version with rollback. Or putting rollback in the PC version. That's like literally all they could announce. Either that or Marvel 2 on modern platforms. Those are pretty much the only outcomes. There was talk of a Marvel 2 like remaster. Like Digital Eclipse was supposed to be doing it. Hopefully with not shit netcode. There's a pretty high chance they have to announce something, right? It's either going to be Marvel 2 comes back with rollback, Marvel 3 gets rollback, which I seriously doubt. I doubt that. And I don't think people would be happy with that anyway, because there already are people that are working on rollback for the PC version of Marvel 3. Or a new Marvel entirely. So, probably Marvel 2 and maybe a new one. Tekken's just gonna be maybe like a release date trailer, like another character getting announced, but the characters got leaked from the beta test, so I feel like they might be scrambling to make like a release date trailer now or something. Because people found entries in the data for Tekken 8 characters that have not been announced yet. But they can still show gameplay, so all it's gonna do is it's gonna confirm the leaks. But yeah, probably a release date for Tekken. Guilty Gear Strive new season. Street Fighter 6 is probably going to show, probably going to show the next play DLC character. They'll probably have some left field stuff, but like in terms of most predictable announcements, I'd say that's pretty on point. There'd probably be some random ass game that people get super hyped for. I don't even know what it could be at this point, but I feel like they'll have some kind of left field announcement, because I think this year we're gonna have to pull out all the stops to really get people hyped up, because it's like all the major installments are out now, or coming out soon. Mortal Kombat is next month. Tekken is obviously soon. I don't know if that game's gonna make it this year. I think that's gonna be like first part of the year, 2024. Mostly just because they don't want to compete with Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter's already out. Honestly, they need to make a new Virtua Fighter. I think trying to bring that game back was just as misguided as every time they bring back an old-ass game like Darkstalkers and they get shocked that normies aren't buying it. It's like, well, it's like a 20-year-old game. It's not even the graphics that's the problem. It's the fact that there's wizards that have been playing it for 20 years straight. It's not appealing to normal people, even people that are hardcore about fighting games. I don't think it had the results that they wanted. It's like there's people that never stopped playing that game. Just like when they brought back Darkstalkers. Yeah, Bamco might pull another one of those out of their ass, but they announced one last month. Or was it back in June? That other anime, they announced another shitty generic arena fighter for that, so I don't think they've got another one. It'd be pretty funny if they did keep shitting those games out. None of the Gundam Musou games are on PS4. You have to go get a PS3 or find a ROM. I think they have licensing issues with those games, so they can't bring them back or some shit like that. But yeah, those games are stuck on PS3 and 360. So either go find a copy or go download a ROM, whichever you want to do. Ugh. Don't play the Vita port. Don't play that. That is, an awful way to play. The Vita Musou ports are decent, but in 2023, I gotta be honest with you. If you want to play those games, go get the console version, or go download a ROM. Like, it's just, too much effort for a subpar experience. Now, back when those ports came out, it was amazing to have portable Muso games, but that's been like 8 years, so... Pushing the boundaries of how much effort you should put into playing an old game like that. Not even really a good experience. Especially when you consider you don't have L2 and R2. You don't even have L2 and R2. That stuff has to be mapped to the D-pad or the back touch. And the back touch is the stupidest gimmick about the Vita. It's nice for some things, but actually relying on it to respond in the way you want it to in a fast-paced action game just does not happen. The best Vita ports were the ones that they're like 6-button games. Anything that required 8 buttons, you had to use the back touch. The thing it has no tactile feedback. It's not very responsive. You can't use it for, like, playing an action game. There were a lot of games that used it pretty well, but nothing with, like, manual dexterity required. I think, like, the visual novels and stuff used it, but... You don't really want to be playing whole-ass ports that require the back touch in 2023. Oh, the Sigma 2 port is awful. Yeah, that's another prime example. But that game is available legally on PC and console with, like, mods, so I don't see any reason why you'd ever want to play that in that version. The Vita had a lot of monkey's paw ports. It's cool that you can play this away from home, you know, on your commute or at lunch break at work or like school or something, but a lot of those ports weren't it, man. 20 FPS and you had no button parity because you're missing 2 buttons. Even Dragon's Crown, which is like one of the best ports for like having an actual console experience on the go. If you start trying to do the endgame maps on the Vita, it starts to chug a lot. It's not very playable. It's like barely playable. I mean, I guess if you're desperate, you could do the endgame content, but it would chug frames a lot. I actually did a decent chunk of the endgame on Vita. The frame rate does not hold up when you start getting to that point. Oh, because of the online, huh? It's because of the online, right? I heard about that. Or like there's something wrong with the tag missions. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That sounds familiar. I never bought that port myself, but I found it funny that it's impossible. You'd have to cheat to get it. I remember hearing that from people back when that came out. It's like the frame rate was terrible and the platinum trophy is literally not humanly possible. Odin Sphere port is in Muramasa Rebirth. Those are some of the best ports on the Vita by far. Because Odin Spear doesn't really drop frames that much. I mean, if you spammed a lot of magic potions, it did, but those were a very limited and hard to find resource. You couldn't stack like 30 of those super easily. But like for normal gameplay, it was more than playable. I played through the whole game on the Vita. Excellent port. Same with Muramasa Rebirth. It's the best version of that game. And when you start getting into 3D stuff, those ports are questionable. The Vita's a lot like the Switch. They port stuff to it that it can't handle. It's like, yeah, I guess if it's your only option, it's alright, but you're better off playing a lot of those games on console or PC. The Dragon's Crown port is good until you get to the end game, but the end game in Dragon's Crown is already super repetitive as it is, so I think a lot of people were done with that game when they got to the final difficulty. But yeah, the frame rate doesn't hold up when you start doing the end game dungeons, especially if you play as the wizard. Frame rate tanks a ton, which can get you killed because it starts eating inputs. But that's kind of a little bit of a nitpick. By the time you get to the point where the frame rate starts crapping out like that, I think most people would be done with the game anyway. And the game had cross-save, so you could always just do the endgame content on the PS3 or PS4 version. Wasn't anything stopping you from doing that, so it's more of a nitpick. It's not like the ports that ran at like 20 FPS and they had buttons on the back touch and stuff. Different situation for sure. Yeah, I haven't tried this on this stream yet, so I gotta go after this level, but I wanted to try it. So I've gotten all the other beat 'em ups to work. Just wanted to make sure this was a-okay to stream. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but Steam Deck works in very mysterious ways. Some pixel art games like this barely work. And then you can play like a brand new AAA game like Baldur's Gate 3 works perfectly apparently. But then like something like this just will not work. So wanted to give a little test drive. I do have to go after this though. It's already 10:10. And I gotta do stuff when I get home before I stream again, so stop after this. Yeah, I don't like the harder difficulties in this game. It's one of my criticisms of this game's design. There's three main things I don't like about this game. The first is, outside of the auto-scroller path where you fight the Ninja Turtles, the length of the game doesn't change that much, so it's kind of like Metal Slug 3 in that regard, where the path system doesn't really improve the replay value because the last level is literally like half the length of the game. Also, the infinite prevention system in this game is very restrictive. It's kind of funny because they have like really difficult. This game has straight up like Street Fighter King of Fighters combo trials, but you can't land them on bosses because they tech out. Or the gravity. They don't tech out. It's more that the gravity kicks in. That's another criticism I have of this game, and then also the fact that the enemies get more health on harder difficulties. So it just kind of becomes a slog after a while. But other than that, this game is a masterpiece. But yeah, this game definitely does have Metal Slug 3 syndrome, where it's like, they give you different paths that you can take to give you different routes and more replay value, but then the last two levels are like half the length of the game, so it doesn't matter. He definitely could have structured that a little bit better. And he can't really do anything fun with the combo system on bosses. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. I'm gonna have my snack, and then I gotta take care of some stuff when I get home, and I may or may not stream again. If I do, it'll probably be low effort, like Orochi and PGR. Actually, I might not even do that, because it's Friday. It's gonna be Friday when the server resets. There's like not much to do. So, maybe Orochi or like some beat 'em ups or something, or emulation. But yeah, I gotta hop off. I'll see you guys later tonight, most likely. If not tomorrow. Peace out. Yeah, Fight and Rage is best at easy or normal, I would say. beat 'em ups that give the enemies more health, when you go up in difficulty, the pacing just takes a nosedive. And the game already has Metal Slug 3 syndrome, where the path you take, it does have some effect. There is one path that's significantly longer than the others, but the last 2 levels are like longer than most of the rest of the game combined. So, which is the same problem Metal Slug 3 has. It's like the paths are like, oh, it's cool to go a different way, but then the game ends the same way, and the last level's like half an hour long. So it's like the paths felt like a cool gimmick. You know, they wanted to have like more material replay value for an arcade game than what was expected at the time. And there weren't really a lot of games with like card systems like Maximum Tune and Initial D back then. They wanted to have more material replay value. It's just structured terribly. Because they wanted the last level to be like this huge epic that wouldn't be out of place in like a Hollywood action movie. But it's just too long. And all the path system does is it's just a different way to get to that long ass mission. Every single time you play. It's definitely the biggest flaw with Metal Slug 3 for sure. I don't think Fight and Rage is anywhere near as bad, but it's a lesser version of the same problem. Just they give you decisions to make, but the decisions don't really affect the playthrough that much.